Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? The Podfather here. There was background noise as usual. Don't worry. Still a great listen. We discussed coronavirus, WrestleMania possibly getting canceled, and what's going on with AEW Dynamite and the Inner Circle versus the Elite. You don't want to miss it. Bulletcast right now.
Bulletcast for life. Get up! This is a revolution! This is our time to rise! Look deep within your mind! Look deep into...
Ladies and gentlemen, you know the name, you know the voice, you know exactly why I'm here. Just in case if you don't, I am a 24-year-old piece of gold, the messiah of the microphone, and the greatest sports recreational podcast in the world today, the Podfather. And unlike the rest of the world, I'm not scared of this supposed virus. Why? Because I'm the current reigning Bulletcast champion, like Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roddy Strong, and Adam Cole, baby. This title reign is hashtag forever undisputed. For life, brother. And you know I never do this alone. He's my tag team partner, my quarantined tag team partner, the Jim and my J, Tilly DeMar, and Stevie Ray to my Booker T. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the host of the award-winning Under the Radar host and creator of Curveballs and Chair Shots, first ever and 8-time Bulletcast champion, the Canadian Destroyer, BT, Brandon Tan Guma. BT, you wearing a sanitation suit? Got a lot of hand sanitizer?
Yep, I'm locked up, quarantined inside the studio right now, looking like one of the hazmat guys from Monsters, Inc.
There you go, dude. Yeah, let's not even start with SmackDown. Let's just go right to this whole coronavirus thing that's going on. The potential of WrestleMania to be canceled because there's apparently an outbreak in Tampa Bay. And then I know like SF State closed down, East Bay, Chabot out here in the Bay Area. Those places have closed down, and a lot of events in San Francisco are being closed down because of this. Guys, look, I was in Dallas when the alleged Ebola virus broke out. Wasn't that big of a deal then. Zika wasn't that big of a deal. Swine wasn't that big of a deal. This is just another one of those things where you guys most likely probably just have like a little flu or something. And the government made up a virus, and you're just gonna believe it. Like, this has gotten really out of hand. My grandmother and I went to Walmart yesterday, Brandon, and do you know what she got?
Hand sanitizer and toilet paper.
No. She got ingredients to make her own hand sanitizer. This makes no sense. Guys, the coronavirus is a work. It is a work. It is one of the biggest works ever. I've watched wrestling long enough to know this. It's a work, guys. Come on. You're naive if you believe this. Let's stop this. Let's stop this.
Well, Phillip, then I guess you should just call me a naive, stupid idiot then.
Brandon, I don't want to do that to you. I like you. I like you, man. I don't want to.
I like you too, and I don't want to, break up the podcast because of this whole coronavirus situation. But look, I just feel like you're so underplaying what is going on right now. Because if this was a work, why would the government and all these sports entities and businesses all around the world will be costing themselves billions, if not trillions, of dollars by shutting down work?
Because they're not woke to this. They're not woke to this game. It's just facts, It's facts. Look, man. My shoot job, I work at a gas station. I've worked graveyard. I've handled graveyard money. I'm immune to this alleged coronavirus. Okay? Yeah.
Well,
if you're drinking water out of a fountain at a park, you're immune to this alleged virus.
I've ridden BART many, many times before, so hopefully that makes me immune to the virus. But I feel as though people, like yourself, Phillip, are underplaying this way too much. And yes, the coronavirus might not kill me or you, but it's just like vaccinations. We people who are healthy enough to get vaccinated and to not spread it around should get it, because it puts the other people who could die in severe risk. Like my grandmother, unfortunately, she passed away last year. But if she was still alive, I'd be freaking out, because who knows if I have it or my family has it and they give it to her, and then that's pretty much like a death sentence for her. This is some pretty serious stuff going on right now.
Yes, Bay Area native Tom Hanks, supposedly he and his wife contracted the virus in Australia, so they're being quarantined down there.
Chabot's finest.
I don't know. Yeah, but yes, Chabot's finest, yes. No, but guys, WrestleMania, they're talking about canceling this. I don't know if an official word has come out on whether it's going to go on or be postponed. But if we know Vince McMahon, he's not letting that happen. Vince is he knows how much money's on the line and all this other stuff. Like it shouldn't have taken this quote unquote alleged virus for people to be cautious about washing your hands and stuff. Like, come on. Always wash your hands. Always wash your booty. Shower, all this other stuff. I don't know what's going on, Brandon.
Well, I don't think it's Vince McMahon that's going to be the one to... I don't think WrestleMania is going to get canceled. I think people like that are going to, clickbaity headlines like, oh, WrestleMania is going to get canceled. I think it'll be suspended or it'll be relocated or something like that. I feel as though it's not going to be Vince McMahon that's going to do this. It's going to be the city of Tampa, the state of Florida, the United States government is going to be the one that puts the kibosh on this. And, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a medical expert that knows all the ins and outs of the coronavirus, but from what I'm seeing, all this stuff that's come down just in the last 24 hours, the last 12 hours, from the NBA shutting down, NHL shutting down, MLS, all these different sporting things, MLB probably going to suspend opening day. I would assume WrestleMania is going to follow suit. WWE, AEW. We still don't know what's going to go on with with SmackDown on Friday. And Rudy Gobert, the person on the Jazz who first contracted the virus, he just played in Detroit last week or whatever. I've heard that coronavirus wouldn't last that long, but who knows exactly what's going on with all this stuff. And it's a scary time. And it's an unprecedented time because we haven't seen anything really like this in terms of cancellation since 9/11, and we haven't really seen anything like this in terms of widespread illness since 1919 with the Spanish flu, where the Stanley Cup Finals were canceled. So, this is the very beginning, so we're kind of fearing for the worst, but I think it's better for us to overreact and be precautious than to underreact, because at this point we're in the beginning stages, and we were at where Italy was last week, where there were many cases, then all of a sudden the entire country of Italy is getting shut down. And I don't know if we're going to get to that level just quite yet, but out here in the Bay Area, up in Seattle, here on the West Coast, it's a pretty serious situation right now.
Yeah, isn't in NCAA basketball game, aren't they supposed to do an empty arena game or something?
Well, it's a very fluid situation. There's all the conference championship games or tournaments that are supposed to be going on right now. Every major conference tournament has been canceled. I'm pretty sure every conference tournament's going to be canceled. There's Duke, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, basketball school in the world, said that if the NCAA tournament ends up happening, they're not going to play. They're going to sit out on this one. Kansas, which is I think the number one ranked school in the league in the world right now, they're suspending athletic competitions and everything like that. So just from the sports world, the wrestling world, just everything going on, it's by the time we upload this podcast, who knows what exactly is going to happen, because Tampa is supposed to have a meeting today, and maybe news will break about WrestleMania and everything. I mean, just fans in Europe, Trump did a travel ban for pretty much all of mainland Europe, and people who were planning to go to WrestleMania can't get into the United States because of this travel ban. There's still UK people can come, which obviously that's going to be a lot of people who were going to fly in to go to WrestleMania, but talent, fans, that's already being affected by who can fly into the United States if there even is a WrestleMania in Tampa.
Well, Saudi Arabia, they've offered to host WrestleMania. So, yeah. But I don't think WrestleMania will get canceled. I mean, could you imagine Drew McIntyre beating Brock Lesnar for the WWE title in an empty arena? Just imagine that. Cole and Graves and Phillips, they're off somewhere else backstage doing the commentary so they don't get infected by the virus or something like that. And Drew's celebrating in an empty arena of what could be 80,000 people. Could you imagine that, dude?
WrestleMania gets pushed back all the way till May, and we're going to have Double or Nothing and WrestleMania on the exact same weekend.
I don't think that's going to happen. It's not going to get canceled. There's not going to be any empty arenas. I mean, look, I was a child actor. I know what it's like to perform in front of a live crowd. You need to feed off of that energy. It's okay. It's all right. It's decent. And then with WrestleMania Access, people are talking about the no touching policy. I've seen some of these photos these creepy guys have taken with these female performers. Yeah, I think the no touching policy is actually a great thing. I think it
Yeah,
is.
if you're not seeing that photo of the guy doing like the prom photo with Becky Lynch, it's very cringe.
Yeah, dude, like don't do that. Take a nice decent photo. Just don't be creepy.
Keep it above the waistline. Don't try to get a feel.
Or if you get lucky, Victoria will choke you like she did me in a photo.
And me.
Oh yes, we've been choked by Victoria. Greatest accolade of my life, I might add.
Paige, very nice lady.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, let's just keep rolling on with inside of the ring or outside of the ring. Sorry. Finally, the British Bulldog is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Davey Boy Smith. I was on the Gram of Insta early in the morning, and I follow his daughter Georgia, and she broke the news. She said she's had to be quiet for a month, but long overdue. British Bulldog, one of the best talents that the WWFE has ever seen. When he was with oh my god, Dynamite Kid. There we go. The British Bulldogs were an amazing tag team. Bulldog had one of the best main events in WWE history. SummerSlam '92, Wembley Stadium, going up against Brett. Allegedly, Davey Boy forgot everything, and Brett had to carry him through the match, which is something great. Yeah, man. So, what are your thoughts on Davey Boy going in the Hall of Fame finally?
Definitely much deserved. Much should have happened 15 plus years ago, and it's unfortunate that it has to be post-mortem, but that's just kind of how it goes with a lot of these wrestlers from that era. And it's glad to see that people from this generation or younger kids are going to find out maybe who the British Bulldogs are for the first time. When Dynamite Kid passed away, that was probably an introduction for a lot of those kids and a lot of other wrestling fans. So good for him, good for his family. Another entrant into the Hart family, as Natalia posted today.
Absolutely. Alright, apparently Gronk is close to signing with WWE. Nobody wants to see that.
Well, it was not like a foregone conclusion, but after he retired from the NFL, people are like, oh, maybe he'll go into the WWE. This doesn't mean he's going to be a wrestler. Maybe he'll just be a contributor. Maybe he'll just be a commentator or a guest host or whatever. But Gronk has had his history of injuries, but that has also kind of been back in like the 80s or even like today. There's still a lot of athletes out there who have injuries and they end up bouncing back, going into the wrestling world and then thriving. Gronk is definitely a character. Who knows how that'll transfer into the wrestling world. We see Baron Corbin, Mojo Rawley. There's people out there, The Rock, Roman Reigns. There's people who, some of them are really good and some of them aren't so good. So I think Gronk, if he does sign and he does train, who knows what could happen.
I mean, he had a decent football career, apparently, allegedly, what I've been told.
He's only like the greatest tight end of all time, whatever.
Is he? I don't know. I don't watch real sports, as we know. XFL though, that's where it's at. But if he can take the bumps, and I'm sure he's a charismatic dude like what we saw at 33 in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, then I guess it'd be okay.
As long as him and Mojo Rawley don't become a tag team and go for the titles.
I don't know, dude. What happened to Mojo Rawley? He lost the 24/7 title, and then that was it.
Riddick Moss beat him, and he hasn't been seen since because Riddick Moss is a generational talent, as we like to say here on the podcast.
Riddick Moss is an absolute boss. All right, Pro Wrestling Insider, they released...
Don't get lost in the sauce.
Okay. They released their Decade Awards. Are you ready for this, Brandon?
I am sitting down, so I am ready.
Wrestler of the Decade, AJ Styles. Tag Team of the Decade, The New Day. Woman of the Decade, Charlotte Flair. I like that. Match of the Decade, Taker versus Shawn. Career versus Streak, WrestleMania 26. Feud of the Decade, Okada versus Omega. I don't agree with that. Most Hated Wrestler of the Decade, Brock Lesnar. Most Popular Wrestler of the Decade, John Cena. Inspirational Wrestler of the Decade, Daniel Bryan. And, yeah. That's about it, man. Thoughts on all that?
We did our Wrestler of the Decade, and did we not pick AJ Styles as the winner, correct, Phillip?
Yes, the Phenomenal One has been Wrestler of the Decade on this show. PWI, ATW, I'm not sure. And All Things Wrestling, he was voted Wrestler of the Decade as well. and then a WOA. I'm not sure what outlet that is, but he was their Wrestler of the Decade as well. So, I mean, in the decade, the TNA, IWGP, and WWE Heavyweight titles. That's an impressive career, man.
And that's kind of why I picked him as my Wrestler of the Decade, just because he kind of spanned so many different promotions, did so many great things. Yes, maybe the last 2-3 years he was kind of on the downhill because he's getting a little older, but definitely he was my pick. Tag team of the New Day, I would maybe disagree with that, and I would probably go with the Young Bucks. I know it's kind of the smarky pick, but honestly, what they've meant to the wrestling community and how they've changed the wrestling business since, 2010 till 2019 is such a different landscape than what it was in 2010. So I would maybe pick them, not only because of what they did in the ring, but also what they did outside the ring. Charlotte, I can understand why they picked her. There's a bunch of, I'm not the biggest international women's fan in the world, or, I don't really know what's going on in Japan and Mexico and stuff, so I can't really speak on that. Charlotte being Wrestler of the Decade, I could see that. I could maybe make a case for maybe AJ, but it's kind of like AJ was the wrestler of the first 5 years, and then Charlotte was the wrestler of the last 5 years, so I don't really know how you would quantify that. But I can see Charlotte, as much as I kind of bash on her on the podcast, but I can see her being Wrestler of the Decade.
It's about time you finally have come to your senses, Brandon, what's your name? Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that, Scott Steiner, the big bad booty daddy, holler if you hear him. He collapsed at an Impact taping last week and he had to have emergency heart surgery. I don't know the extent of his condition, but I hear he's doing well.
Shout out to Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. Hopefully he gets better, and Jordan Grace is getting through this tough time.
Yes. So is this really her father? I keep seeing stuff that it's her brother. Like, what's going on here?
She's Mama Thickness and he's Big Papa Pump, so, put two and two together.
I'm going to need some hardcore proof. I think that's what I'm going to need. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the FCW documentary debuted on the WWE Network, after Elimination Chamber on Sunday. You get to see people like Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin and Sasha and Bayley and all these people tell their stories of how they got to Steve Keirn and Dr. Tom Pritchard in that old FCW warehouse and its evolution into becoming NXT. And really, you really just learned a lot about these guys and how Seth was told, forget everything you've learned, even when before he got to the FCW training center, he was the Ring of Honor World Champion. So they were basically told, you need to start from scratch. And I was like, wow, this is a fascinating thing. And of course, they talk about Dusty and how he came into the mix and how how they became Dusty's kids and all this other stuff. And it was just a really nice documentary. I really enjoyed this.
Normally on the podcast, you try to bring up these documentaries on the WWE Network, and I just sit here and I say I didn't watch it. But this one, by golly, I actually watched this. It was after Elimination Chamber. I was just sitting there, let it roll through, and I was like, whatever. I'll just watch it until you call me to do the after show. So I watched the whole thing, and I enjoyed it. Nothing really substantial, I would say, came out of it in terms of learning new things. Seth Rollins, I did kind of enjoy him telling some stories because maybe it's because he is kind of the highest guy in the pecking order right now, so he doesn't really care. So he was talking about Ring of Honor. We even got a Juice Robinson name drop, so that was nice to see. For the most part, a lot of the guys and girls in there, some of them were there throughout, like Heath Slater, which was kind of interesting because we don't really see Heath Slater in a lot of these documentaries. Obviously, there were some people that were omissed. They kind of showed Dean Ambrose a little bit, but didn't really touch on him. And Roman, was Roman even really in it at all, which was kind of interesting. But for the most part, it was a nice, solid hour, 15 minutes. Nothing really, if you kind of know the ins and outs and you kind of know that story a little bit, I don't think you're going to really walk with anything new. But it is kind of just cool to go back and see all these wrestlers that today being, 12 years younger and just kind of see where they all came from.
It was really a fascinating watch. I really enjoyed that. All right, Superhuman. Brandon, are you a fan of Superhuman? The kid that jumps through, wood and Legos and barbed wire and all this stuff?
Whoop whoop.
Yes, well, he has his own hot sauce. It is Superhuman F This Ish hot sauce. Get it in stores near you. JR has barbecue sauce. He has hot sauce. Brandon, maybe we need to get into the condiment game.
Can't wait for the Superhuman hot sauce to be on the latest episode of Hot Ones.
Absolutely. I think we need our own mustard.
I'm a fan of the mustard, a healthy condiment.
It is 0 calories. I'm a big fan of the mustard. Big mustard boy over here. All right, well, we're gonna move on.
Important question, Philip.
Yes.
What do you put on your hot dog?
When I do consume hot dogs, I was a big ketchup, relish, mustard, onion guy. Yeah. Gotta dress it up. Gotta dress it up real nice.
Usually I just go traditional mustard, ketchup, and relish.
Oh, okay, I feel you. I know there are some people that put mayonnaise on theirs. If you want those extra calories and carbs, do you?
Don't go to a Chicago Cubs game and put ketchup on your hot dog because they will kill you.
No, will they really?
Yes, sacrilegious over there in Chicago.
Why? Why is that?
You only put mustard on the dog.
Mustard. What about sauerkraut?
I think that's acceptable.
Sauerkraut, very underrated, by the way.
Just like Sonya Deville.
Yes, absolutely. SmackDown recap: the NWO, consisting of Six-Pac, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, were on a moment of bliss. They had an interaction with Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Braun Strowman. Yeah, it happened.
It did happen, and I thought it was a little cringe. I don't know what Scott Hall was doing. He was just there to get a paycheck. Kevin Nash was meh. X-Pac is always kind of weird and awkward, and it was just building to that 3-on-1 handicap match. It's always fun to see my girl Alexa Bliss and Sean's Thicky Cross, so that was positive.
Yeah, Sean, he just had a birthday yesterday. The big 24.
Happy birthday.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Sasha Banks and Bayley, they go on to defeat Naomi and Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans' nasty gimmick, it's a shame she turned face. This would have worked perfectly with what's going on in the world right now.
Well, In the Click would like their gimmick back, Phil, because they talked about the exact same thing on the latest episode, because I listened to the product.
I know, and shout out to Bimbo Jimbo. He said that Vince was way ahead of his time with the whole Dean Ambrose gas mask thing. I told you, dude, Vince knows what he's doing. You guys think it's stupid, but he knew what was going to happen.
And let's all have a moment of silence for Baby Huey, because I think he has been struck with the coronavirus, if you listen to the latest episode.
I'll hit up Huey to make sure he's okay. So, thoughts on this match?
It was a match. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for.
That is all we can really ask for in this day and age. Alright, Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt, they brought up WrestleMania 30 with Cena beating him. I like that.
I mean, it's a logical story to tell, especially since there's not a whole lot to glean from the angle they did last week, so it makes a whole lot of sense. We're actually going to talk about that WrestleMania 30 match in a little bit, Philip.
Oh, we are.
That's what we call a tease in the business.
Ooh, big tease. Alright, SmackDown moves to the Performance Center inside of the ring because of this whole coronavirus malarkey. SmackDown in the PC, I kind of like that.
Well, they did do NXT from the Performance Center. A interesting setup, pretty similar to what they do at NXT. Had a little more of a house showy feel in terms of the Titantron. I think the crowd was a little bit smaller. Who exactly knows what's going to be going down with WWE and AEW in the future? Luckily, WWE has that Performance Center in their back pocket, so they can have empty arena or just have wrestlers in the crowd. I don't know, but AEW I think is one that's going to be a little more interesting to see what they do. Do they just book empty arena matches? But then it's like you have all these wrestlers, and wrestlers might be the most contagious or might be carrying it because they're always out in public, they're on the planes and they're doing all these different things. That's why when we get to Raw and Elimination Chamber, there were some things where there's some interactions with the crowd, and it was just, I thought it was so tone deaf, especially with what's been going on the last 24 hours.
Yeah, maybe AEW needs to buy the old power plant that WCW used to have. That'd be nice. Yeah, there you go.
Sure, why not?
Absolutely. Alright, also, Impact Wrestling, their Rebellion pay-per-view main event has been announced. Tessa Blanchard will defend the heavyweight championship against Big Michael Elgin and also Eddie Edwards, as there is asinine noise in the background.
Well, I was just going to ask if that person who was seemingly wrestling a garbage bag in the background booked for this show.
No, they're not. No, they're not. It's just a jabroni.
No, it's a shame. Impact, as I keep saying, I need to watch it. I hear good things about it. Good for them. Still staying alive all these years. Who would have thought we'd be here?
I know they've had some really dark times. They're doing better than Ring of Honor, believe it or not. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
All right. NJPW. I guess they're running the Garden again. August 22nd of this year.
Yes, they will be running it, and they will be going head-to-head with NXT TakeOver SummerSlam weekend, and that will be interesting to see what people choose. The SummerSlam is taking place in Boston, so very close proximity to New York, a driving distance, a short plane ride. I don't know the East Coast transit system. Take a train, as long as we're not all shut down from a coronavirus by that time, but the Madison Square Garden show last year was a joint show with ROH. This is solely a New Japan show with the Olympics seemingly taking place this summer, pushing back the G1. This is a pretty big show for New Japan coming off the heels of, well, let's see, Dominion will be in June. Who knows what they're going to be doing in July. So big show for New Japan in August.
If I'm going to the Garden, I want to see WWE there, not New Japan, Hell, they're probably going to spread this alleged virus, Yeah.
We're all spreading it. We all have it. We just don't know yet.
I'm as healthy as a chickpea. Yep. All right, Brandon, Mania Madness is back. Tell us what's going on and what the bracket consists of.
Well, Phillip, only a short week ago I thought we weren't going to have another one, but while I was trying to fall asleep, trying to, be safe from all this coronavirus madness, I had an epiphany that we will have another Mania Madness bracket. The March Madness might not be going on, but damn it, the Bulletcast Mania Madness is going to go on. So this year we have 32 of the greatest WrestleMania entrances of all time. Some over the top, just some super simple but iconic. This was completely random, except for maybe a few adjustments here and there. So no particular order in how all these matchups were arranged. Obviously, a lot of them will be from recent memory because that's when a lot of the entrances have been ramped up. But first, in the first matchup, we have Undertaker's entrance from WrestleMania 19. How could you forget? It has Limp Bizkit because we're all rolling. Taking on Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 7. Just very simple. Him walking with the flag, waving it. God bless America. Phillip,
Undertaker,
who would you pick?
Undertaker all day.
Okay. Big Limp Bizkit fan, I see.
No, it's just, we all know how I feel about Hulk Hogan.
Alright, I will pick Undertaker as well. Moving on, we have Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance from WrestleMania 34 with Nita Strauss playing the intro with a bunch of violins in the background. Taking on John Cena's entrance from WrestleMania 25. How could you forget? That's the one that has a bazillion lookalike John Cena's all waving their hands because you cannot see them. Phillip, who do you got in this matchup?
I got WrestleMania 25, the billion John Cena's, man. That was the first WrestleMania I ever bought. And that holds a special place in my heart because one of the matches on there is the absolute greatest wrestling match I've ever seen. But that's John Cena entrance, top notch, one of the best entrances I've ever seen at WrestleMania.
I will have to agree with you. The Nakamura entrance might be better musically and visually, but I think the John Cena one is much more iconic. It has, all those John Cenas dressed up like him, goofiness, t-shirt, and the baggy shorts. So I will go with that as well. So then moving on, we have a WrestleMania 31 matchup. I wanted to see this one take place in the first round. We have, from WrestleMania 31, Triple H's entrance with the Terminator intro and him rising up in the Terminator guard, taking on Sting from that same matchup where he has, for some godly reason, like some Japanese band playing, beating on drums and stuff. It looked cool.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were there, man. I think I'll go with the Terminator, dude. It was badass. I think Arnold went in that year, so it kind of makes sense. Triple H just received the Arnold Schwarzenegger Lifetime Achievement Award, by the way. Yeah, man, I'll go Hunter. The Terminator entrance, the game, it looked badass. I enjoyed it. Even though this was Sting's first ever WrestleMania appearance and entrance, I got to go with the game.
I think I would pick Triple H's as well. Being there live, it was kind of cool, over the top. It had the intro, and it is a little bit more iconic, I would say. The Sting one, I think, was kind of weird, and it looked cool, but it just didn't really fit the Sting character. So then moving on, we have Stone Cold's entrance from WrestleMania 19. 19 now. He didn't really do a whole lot, but the walk and the shot of him walking down the aisle with the crowd in the background, one of the most iconic shots we have come to see in WWE. You probably have seen that all over the place in intros and Stone Cold documentaries and all over the place, so nothing too over the top. But then going to John Cena's entrance from WrestleMania 23 in Detroit, this is the one where he, in quotation marks, drives the Ford, I think it's a Mustang or something. He drives through the glass and comes out. Philip, who do you got in this match?
First of all, why would you say he, quotation marks? Did he not get out of the car?
I mean, he did come out of the car, but who knows if he was actually the one driving. It was a very heavily tinted car.
It was him. He got out of the car, got out of the driver's seat. It was him.
Okay, Philip.
I had to watch this one back. This was cool. This was cool. It had that big match feel, or big entrance, big match feel. Yeah. But Austin, given what we know, it was the last ride. It was his last walk down the aisle as an in-ring performer. I'll pick Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Very shocking that you picked that one. I will agree with you as well. It might not be super over the top like all these other entrances, but just the shot is one of the most iconic shots in WrestleMania history. Then moving on, we have an Undertaker matchup, the entrance from WrestleMania 30, where you have all the coffins of all the people that he's slain at WrestleMania lined up, going on up against WrestleMania 20 when he comes back to take on Kane. Paul Bearer comes out, you get the Druids, they lower the torches, and he walks through the torches. Very similar. I think maybe there were some flames in WrestleMania 30 as well. Philip, who would you pick in this Undertaker WrestleMania matchup?
Oh man, oh god. I mean, I watched the fan footage of 30 and it looked great, but 20, he's walking through it's the Phenom walking through the Valley of the Shadow of Death and the flames, and he's arisen back from hell. After he was an American badass. I think I'll have to go 20.
I'll go with 20 as well. A very iconic entrance, not only in WrestleMania, but also that entrance was used for The Undertaker in many other video games. So I will go with 20 as well, even though the visuals of WrestleMania 30 were stunning. So then, moving on, we got Triple H from WrestleMania 27, taking on Shawn Michaels from 25. I know we're going to see a lot of Triple H on this bracket. This is where you have like Metallica playing in the background, and you have like some people in shields covering him up, and then he comes out and the light comes down. But speaking of the light, Shawn Michaels 25 coming down, descending from the heavens, taking on Undertaker, because it's hell getting to heaven or whatever.
25, dude. It was hell trying to get to heaven. 25, hands down. Yeah.
I will agree with you as well, Philip. WrestleMania 25, great entrance. Then, as I teased earlier on in the show, WrestleMania 30, I think maybe one of the most underrated entrants on this bracket. Bray Wyatt, I even forgot about this. I had to look it back up on the YouTube. Bray Wyatt, WrestleMania 30, going up against John Cena, a very New Orleans voodoo entrance. Going up against the Ultimate Warrior, very similar to Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold, just very simple, but an iconic walk or run of Ultimate Warrior running down the Toronto Sky Dome. I know we have our things about the Ultimate Warrior, but that is a very iconic moment in WrestleMania history, Philip.
I know, he becomes the WWF champion. He's a Warrior 2 belts, but I'm going to pick Bray Wyatt.
Okay. Maybe we'll go to the coin toss on the first time, because I'm going to go with Ultimate Warrior as much as I kind of boo-boo on him. I think it's a very iconic entrance.
So, coin toss, what do you pick, Brandon?
I will go with heads. Do you have a coin on you, Philip?
I do. I have a quarter. I'm like Two-Face.
Okay.
You said heads?
Yes, sir.
And it is... It's heads.
Philip, I appreciate the honesty, especially since we're doing a Skype call, not doing video, so you could have lied, but I appreciate the honesty. That's the kind of guy you are.
I'm a man of my word, dude. I would never lie. Why would I do that?
Then, on the final side of this first bracket, we have Triple H's entrance from WrestleMania 30. This is the one that is iconic, not only because of him, but who was with him on this entrance. He's draped in gold. He comes off the throne. He has Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks with him, taking off the face paint or whatever, the face garb. And then we go Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, coming down on that chariot ring cart thing with people pelting trash at him. Philip, who do you got in this matchup.
Oh man, I mean that's another iconic entrance. Andre on the cart with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and he's pandering to the people like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat Hogan." Yeah. But Triple H's entrance, that was badass, dude. I gotta go Hunter. I do. 30 entrance was great.
I will go with Hunter as well. Very iconic for not only him, but also the women involved in that entrance as well. Speaking of Hunter, we have a Triple H matchup because, of course, we have pretty much every Triple H. Actually, had to take off some of the Triple H WrestleMania entrances, but we have Triple H from WrestleMania 22. I think one of my favorite ones that I didn't even really remember until doing my research. He comes up from the floor on a crown in a throne. It's pretty much all the same stuff you see, but this was one of the first ones he's really done. Going up against WrestleMania 33, which they all kind of run together at this point. This is the one where he rides down on his Megatrike with Stephanie with the police escort.
22.
I agree. Very, very easily. All right, so then moving on, we got WrestleMania 9, the only announcer entrant on this list, but I thought this was one that we had to put in. WrestleMania 9 from Caesar's Palace. Bobby the Brain Heenan riding in backwards on a camel, taking on Sasha Banks from WrestleMania 32 with her cousin, or nephew, or uncle, I don't even know. Snoop Dogg wraps her out to the ring. Phillip, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with Sasha, dude.
Well, I'm going to go with Bobby. I love the Brain. I thought it was a fantastic entrance. It was hysterical, and it was different. So, Phillip, you can call the heads or tails this time.
Heads won last time, so I'll do it again. Let's see. Here we go. And heads it is.
All right, Sasha, moving on. Then we got The Rock's entrance from WrestleMania 32, which is the one where he comes out, takes like a half hour just to get down to the ring. He takes the torch and he blows up his name. But then we got Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24. He comes down for the last time. The fireworks, the blue robe, very iconic. I have the picture framed in my room with him signing it. I'm going to go with Ric Flair. Phillip, I assume you will go with the Nature Boy as well.
I will, man. It was the last in-ring performance entrance as a WWE performer. You got to clarify that. So yeah, I'll go with Rick.
Then we got WrestleMania 29, CM Punk making his way down to the ring with help from Living Color, playing Cult of Personality, taking on Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 33. I didn't really know about this one because I kind of forgot, to be honest. He comes out and he punches the ground, and that 80-yard walkway lights up with fireworks. I'm going to go with CM Punk.
I'm choosing Punk too. Living Color, black excellence at its finest.
Then we get Stone Cold again on this list. WrestleMania 13, iconic. He comes out from the tunnel. The glass literally shatters as he walks down for that submission match, taking on JBL, newly minted Hall of Famer from WrestleMania 21. Comes out in the limo. Money falling from the skies. But I got to ride with my boy Stone Cold. That glass breaking as he walks down. We're going to be seeing that forever.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Austin and the glass breaking, dude. Yeah, man.
We almost are done. 3 more matchups. The Macho King with Sherry Martel from WrestleMania 7, taking on Ruru from WrestleMania 31 with the Tank.
I'll pick the Macho King, dude. I'm sorry. I gotta go with it. Oh, yeah. Me and Sherry Martel, yeah. WrestleMania 7, taking on the Ultimate Warrior, yeah.
I was there for WrestleMania 31, but I will pick the Macho King as well. I know everyone kind of goo-goos over the Tank, but I was not as impressed. It looked very cool, but
Brandon,
it's iconic.
Brandon, by the way, I recently downloaded the Macho Man's rap album.
I saw that.
Matt, have you ever actually listened to this thing in its entirety?
I have not, but I have watched a friend of the podcast, Wrestling with Regrets, video on it.
It's one of those things to where it's interesting in its own right and kind of brilliant in its own right. Like, if I'm listening to music on my Apple Music and a song of it comes on, I'm not saying I'm going to skip it. Just kind of let it ride out. He had low-key kind of bars, man. Macho King was it, dude.
Well, if this coronavirus shuts down the entire wrestling business, maybe next week or the week after, we will do a review on Randy Savage's rap album, because there will be no wrestling to talk about.
I guess. What else?
Moving on. Stone Cold's entrance from WrestleMania 25. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He comes down on the ATV, rides around. It's Stone Cold. You know, he's going to be doing Stone Cold things. Taking on the New Day from WrestleMania 32. They come out in the Bootios. The box falls over. Some big ol' Bootios fall out. They come out in their Dragon Ball Z attire. I'm going to go against Stone Cold on this one, and I will go with the New Day.
What was the other one? The
Stone Cold from 25 on the ATV after he was inducted into Hall of Fame.
Oh no, I got to go with the New Day, dude. I got to go with the New Day.
All right. And then finally, the last matchup, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12, one of the most iconic entrances ever. A strong contender to win the whole thing. He comes riding down on the zip line, taking on Undertaker from WrestleMania 29. I very much enjoy this entrance. He comes walking down with the hands from hell touching him and walking through the smoke. Maybe very visually appealing, but I will still go with Shawn Michaels because one of the most iconic entrances of all time.
Yes, HBK. He zipped lined into the boyhood dream, Brandon. Probably the greatest Iron Man match of all time.
As I've said on this podcast, I think that is one of the most overrated matches of all time.
Dude, look. Anything Okada Omega is overrated to the stars, okay? This was a work of art. Two guys lasting the time limit, going into a time limit draw, going into OT. The super kick heard around the world, the 1, 2, 3, the boyhood dream becomes true for Shawn Michaels.
Pac and Omega did it better.
No, they didn't. They didn't do anything better. No, they didn't. Shawn Michaels actually won a world championship. Hall of Famer. Kenny Omega, some Canadian hack. He's a disgrace to my people.
Anyways, that'll do it for the first round of Bulletcast Mania Madness. Next week we got the Sweet 16. And if the math runs correctly and WrestleMania doesn't get canceled, we'll crown a winner the week of WrestleMania.
Dude,
originally scheduled WrestleMania.
With everything that's going on, the coronavirus might main event WrestleMania, bro. I'm telling you.
But you know who's going to win?
Who?
Roman Reigns.
Oh. Roman Reigns is the hero we need, dude. Alright, let's... Oh my god, we've been going 44 minutes. What the hell? This day in wrestling, ECW Living Dangerously 2000. Mike Awesome wins the ECW title. TNA Destination X 2006. Who was it? Christian Cage retained the NWA title against Monty Brown, a.k.a. Marcus Corvon. Raw on this day in 2012, Miz loses the WWE Champion CM Punk in a non-title match. And WWE MSG Madison Square Garden house show on this day in 2017, Brock Lesnar beats Kevin Owens.
Yes, those are all things that happened on this day.
On this day. I see clearly? Everything has come to life? Better place? Better plans? Better all can dream? No? You want to leave it all behind?
Phillip, we're already running long. Let's not get caught up in some karaoke.
I'm sorry. Alright, fan mail. Robert Walker. Guys, you ever consider training to become a wrestler, and what would your theme be, and what would your gear be? Oh, wow. Well, as I've said on the show, I went to a tryout when I was 17. Maybe someday I'd consider doing it again. For like a full course. I don't know. I'm an amateur wrestler. I'd probably just wear a singlet, and I think Fort Minor. Remember the name. I think that'd be a nice indie theme. I don't think I've ever actually heard it at a show, so I think that'd be pretty cool, kind of original. Brandon, what about you?
Well, like any kid who watches wrestling, I had a dream of wrestling. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition because your boy's a little tiny and a little heavier set. But, I thought about it, maybe after college, but then, 20 years later, I'm still in college. But if I were to ever wrestle, I have my creative wrestlers, and I have very hairy legs, if you've ever seen me in person. So I ain't trying to shave, so I'm going to wear some pants, and probably not, I'll have a nice chiseled body, so just pants, I'll go like old school Chris Jericho. And then for a theme, I don't really got, I feel like we've answered this question many, many times. I don't really have a straight up answer. Maybe something rock, maybe some hip hop, I don't know. One of those two.
Oh, there you go. Alright, Hootie Who 420.
Who to who?
Same old ish with Rollins and his lackeys. Can we just get KO versus Rollins and be done with it? Oh yeah, dude. We're gonna talk about that once we get to Monday Night Raw. Alright, last up we have In Brightest Day X graphic designer for the BC, so here we go. Will coronavirus take out WrestleMania? We already discussed that. I really do hope not. If you could choose what entrance theme you would have to play every time you entered a room. Oh wow. I think this is just a wrestling entrance. For whenever you entered a room, Brandon, what would it be?
Wherever I walk into the room, the glass shatters.
Oh wow, this is actually hard.
Actually, I like to change my pick.
Go ahead.
Alexa Bliss's NXT theme. Fire.
Probably Roman Reigns be like I need Michael Cole to be like the big dog is here. You know, I need that. If I can get that'd actually be pretty actually funny. All right, and then last up, after dealing with someone who came at me on Twitter for some dumbass reason, which I should have ignored in the first place, have you ever had to deal with someone who takes pro wrestling just a little too seriously? You should take pro wrestling seriously. You know, it's a very serious business.
Adam Thornstowe. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Honestly, don't know. Do you have anybody else?
Nope, that's about it. As you have a battle royal going on in the background.
Yes, a very loud battle royal going on in the background. All right. Let's get
Is
to
the 24/7 title on the line?
No, I don't think so. Maybe Tommy Dreamer's license plate hardcore title. All right, let's get to it. Raw recap: Edge RKO's Randy Orton. MVP is out there because I guess he's trying to start a faction or something, and Edge comes out there and he's waiting for Randy. He's calling him out, and you know MVP says, "You know what your problem is? Something. I forgot exactly what he said. Anyway, Edge spears MVP. Randy comes out there, and then Edge RKO's Randy Orton, and then he RKO's MVP and Concerto's MVP.
I hope this MVP storyline or faction actually comes to light. Maybe it was just kind of a way to get Edge involved or something or another, but I enjoyed it. I like the intensity that Edge had. I think he might have had a little bit too much intensity. As a babyface, I know, eye for an eye, but I don't exactly know if MVP really deserved all that smoke from Edge. I mean, if he goes after Randy and does it, I can see why he would do that. But then, MVP, he was being annoying. He was kind of antagonizing Edge. But I think maybe that end kind of went a little bit too far. I still would give it overall a passing grade. I thought it was still a good segment. But I did think maybe Edge went a little too far against MVP.
Yeah. MVP making a return to the Bay Area on May 8th for All Pro Wrestling Running.
If it doesn't get canceled.
Okay, let's not do that. Please, let's not do that. Yeah, man. I can understand why Edge had all that intensity, dude. I mean, look, Randy almost ended this guy's career. He assaulted his wife. Insulted his wife. Said that he loved his children more than his wife did. I can understand why Edge had all that pent-up aggression. Couldn't get his hands on Randy all the way that he wanted to, so he had to settle for MVP. And we all know where this is going. It's going to be a WrestleMania match that will actually happen. Maybe we need Edge to spear the coronavirus out of nowhere, or we need Randy to RKO the coronavirus out of nowhere. Maybe that's what we need.
Well, speaking of the coronavirus, the Florida governor has said that there should be a halt for the next 30 days on mass gatherings, which obviously that would include WrestleMania. So, just another kind of added to the list of reasons why this thing is going to get suspended, not canceled.
It's not going to happen. No, it's not.
You want to put money on this?
No, I don't.
That's what I thought.
What, are you trying to get a little ballsy with me, man? I don't like that.
I mean, I'm just trying to make some money.
Hey, make your money, boo. Jesus. All right. What else do we have? AJ Styles shoots on The Undertaker. He talks about him being old and why does he keep coming back. He says he's talking to Mark Calloway. He says his wife, keeps pushing him to do this. And I'm like, oh, wow. He told him that you should have retired when Brock ended his streak. I'm like, okay. You know what? This would have been the perfect time for AJ to shoot on Michelle for stealing his finisher. The Faith Breaker is the Styles Clash. But AJ took to Twitter and said he's not mad about that. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I guess. Anyway, thoughts on AJ Styles' shoot on the phenomenal? I mean, maybe I'm getting contracted by the coronavirus. I can't think. I don't know what's happening. Thoughts on AJ shooting on Taker?
Well, AJ buried The Undertaker by shooting on him, calling him old, and all this other stuff, but yet that old man has destroyed him the last 2 times that they have gone in the ring together. I don't understand the reasoning behind this. Why would it make somebody more intrigued to see this? We all know that this is all a work. He's not really shooting on The Undertaker, so The Undertaker isn't going to get into a shoot fight with AJ. And Undertaker has beaten AJ up all these times. So I don't think this is the right approach to really go, but I mean, maybe it's gaining a little bit of internet traction, but whoever knew about this or found out about this are probably going to watch WrestleMania anyways.
Yeah, the spoilers have been insane this year. Like, what lowlife actually just spoiled all this stuff? Who back there did this? I want to know. That's why you don't need 45 writers. That's exactly why. Let's go back to the days where it was just Vince, Patterson, and Pritchard. Yeah, like, what are we doing?
No Russo, bro?
No, God. Hell no. I don't need that in my wrestling. I really don't. You saw what he did to WCW. Yeah.
And TNA.
They've come back recently, but he was on that downfall too. All right. Rey Mysterio defeats Angel Garza. Rey looking great at 45, 46 years old, can still go in 2020. Phenomenal.
Really good match. A little short. Angel Garza should not be kissing women at ringside because of him, for his safety and the safety of everyone around him. But I think this might be a little disappointing for fans of Garza, including myself, just because it was kind of a definitive win, kind of showing that Mysterio is above Garza in the pecking order, to where with the Zelina thing, Andrade's the top guy, and Garza's definitely below him, which I can understand, but I think I have a little bit more aspirations for Garza, but who knows what Rey's doing, if he's going to do anything at WrestleMania.
I thought all 4 of them were going to have a match for the United States Championship. I thought that was going to happen.
That's what I said, the 4-way Mexican dance for the United States Championship.
There you go. All right, Drew McIntyre defeats Eric Rowan and crushes his cage.
This whole Eric Rowan thing has been such a disaster. I mean, it started, at the end of the year last year, and now we see him with this stupid big old robotic spider thing.
Dude, last week you were putting it over, man.
I don't recall.
Oh, wow. Anyway, as Chris Jericho once said, it was a dumb idea by bad creative. Yeah.
I just think they had no idea where they were going with this, and by the time they were like, oh, we need to pay this off, what are we going to do? They came up with that.
That is exactly what happened. I have to step away for a second. Tell us about this Becky Lynch promo.
Well, as Phillips steps away for God knows what reason, I will talk about this Becky Lynch promo. It opened up Raw. She comes out, she talks about the cage fighter Shayna Baszler, because that is her new gimmick name now. Every time we talk about the cage fighter Shayna Baszler, you have to call her the cage fighter Shayna Baszler, because if you didn't know, she used to be in the UFC, or she used to be a cage fighter, which henceforth why she the cage fighter Shayna Baszler. So anyways, while Becky Lynch is talking about the cage fighter Shayna Baszler, she puts her over, she talks about how she doesn't have any charisma, and all this other good fun stuff. I thought this was probably the best Becky Lynch promo we've seen in quite a while, especially during this feud with the cage fighter Shayna Baszler. And this was a good first step. I still might be leaning towards the cage fighter Shayna Baszler getting the win. But good, I would say first step, since the match is now official between the two. Overall, good stuff, and they're heading in the right direction for the first time in a long time. Philip, are you back to talk about Becky Lynch's promo on the cage fighter, Shayna Baszler? He is not. So then, I guess we're just going to move on to another promo. We have Rhea Ripley doing the promo, the same exact promo vignette that they had on NXT last week. She goes to the empty stadium, that is Ray James Stadium, or James, whatever, the stadium in Tampa Bay, which might be a sign of things that come, and she talked about how she's always been compared to Flair because she was the blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl, and she doesn't want to live in Charlotte's shadow. She wants to step out. She wants to be her own woman, so that's what she's doing with black pants and black everything and the short hair, and this is going to be a big moment of her career, stepping out of the spotlight and beating up Charlotte at WrestleMania. First time anyone from NXT is going to have this kind of spotlight at WrestleMania.
But she's not going to win, bro. The Becky Lynch promo, it was okay. It's, what Becky does. She says, if I'm a biatch, well, I'm the biatch that runs this division, ha ha ha. Getting to this whole Rhea Ripley Charlotte thing. Rhea Ripley she just sucker punched Charlotte. You don't do that to a queen. This is the queendom. I don't like that. Rhea, she's the smart hype, sure, but real fans they understand what Charlotte is. She's a game changer. She's revolutionary. Hell, she's genetically superior. Her dad is the greatest wrestler of all time. She's becoming the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Rhea, enjoy your moment, because in Tampa Bay, Charlotte's taking the NXT Women's title. Early predictions.
Well, when you said the queendom, I started singing Stephanie McMahon's theme song, and luckily, I pulled the me and had the thing on mute.
I thought that too. The lyrics are going through my head too. Maybe they should switch songs. That'd be kind of dope. I'd like that. Yeah, man. But anyway, moving on from all that, Lashley defeats Zack Ryder. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for. Lana's filming a movie, so that's why she didn't accompany Bobby Lashley. Riddick Moss defeats Cedric Alexander to retain his 24/7 title, and Ricochet was on Main Event this week.
Terrible. I guess that kind of puts to bed the accusations that this whole Ricochet thing was a part of a storyline.
Doesn't have what he takes. Told you guys. He does all the flippy doos, and you like him, sure. But what's the purpose of doing these moves? Don't just do them because you can do them. There has to be a reason why you're doing that move. Sorry, guys. We just didn't have what it takes. He can go back down to NXT, or maybe even I don't know. They don't have anything lower than NXT, do they?
Go back to Evolve.
Yeah, go back to Evolve. There you go. You can go back to Evolve, where you'll be a star, supposedly. And the Kabuki Warriors defeat Liv Morgan and Natalya.
That did happen.
Yep. Shout out Kairi Sane. That's all I'll say. That's all I will say here. As the door opens,
you got a haunted house,
and the dead man emerges into my ring, my studio of sorts. It's the Black Undertaker. Oh Jesus! All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's. Oh, he threw out his massive gong. All right, let's move.
Whoa, that's my gimmick, Philip. Come on.
I'm sorry. All right, medium-sized gong. There you go. All right, let's move on to AEW Dynamite. Cody Rhodes defeats Ortiz. Cody still over as all hell. That neck tattoo, it really is distracting. Jesus.
We finally saw some idiot who copied Cody and got one of his own.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, why would you do that to yourself?
You do anything for clout, as Offset would say.
You do anything for clout. Anything at all, It's not that bad, man. It could be like, walking to a Jack in the Box and almost pooping yourself.
Whoa, Philip. Come on. You gotta... So you do listen to the product.
It was one of the... We're talking about the Trapdoor, Curveball, and Chairshot collab that happened. That Brandon, he does do another show besides this. And, ladies and gentlemen, the first 10 minutes of that is one of the most intriguing pieces of digital media audio that I've ever heard. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Let's just say, if you have eaten within the past 30 minutes, definitely do not give it a listen.
Yeah, Dominic, he basically almost defecated himself, or
in my cheek.
Somewhat. No, I'm talking about the time where he was, basically face down, ass up on a toilet. And then, yeah.
Just give it a listen for yourself, guys.
Yep, big teaser. Anyway,
curveballs and chair shots.
What are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes winning with a figure 4 against Ortiz?
Good match. Jake the Snake and Lance Archer come out, so definitely teasing that kind of an anticlimactic announcement of Lance Archer joining up with Jake the Snake. But
I was so disappointed by that, by the way.
With him being with Jake, or just the way that they introduced him?
Yeah, him being with Jake. I was pulling for Brody Lee. I really was.
The Exalted One is near, Philip.
Oh yes, it's gonna be wonderful. Yeah.
What happened after the match, Philip?
Well, yes. The inner circle consisting of Chris Jericho, the Le Champion, Sammy Guevara, and the Big Hurt, Jake Hager. They come on the screen and they say, "Hey, Nick needs some help," and he's like under a steel door. So then Matt and Kenny run out there or backstage after they were dealing with Santana and Ortiz in the ring, and Cody runs out there and they get him into a hospital, and they all hop in a car and go to the hospital with him. Yeah.
I enjoyed the segment. I think Chris Jericho plays it right down the line perfectly of being entertaining, but yet being an annoying heel. The Nick Jackson, him like chomping on a blood capsule, was a little bit too fake for my liking. It was a little bit too obvious. But overall, I thought it was good. Definitely setting up the...
Well, I was saying before, laptop got struck in with coronavirus and the whole thing just went to hell. I thought the attack was good. I thought Chris Jericho had a great promo. Overall, that was the highlight of AEW. And I think they're doing a nice thing with the Elite versus the Inner Circle and everything in between with this feud going forward. Hopefully, the match takes place. But, crossing our fingers, hopefully everything turns out well. But a good segment.
Yes, the Elite and Inner Circle are going to compete in the match Beyond in a couple weeks. Looking forward to that. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley sits down with the voice of wrestling, good old JR. What are your thoughts on Moxley's interview with Jim Ross?
It was a good promo, kind of straightforward. It wasn't like rally the troops babyface promo like he was doing last week and at Revolution. Just kind of simple, straightforward, not really, tipping his hand at what exactly he's going to be doing next. They did kind of tease a little bit with Jake Hager. I still am a little hesitant for that to be a main event at Double or Nothing. We're still 2 months away, so it doesn't mean it's going to be the main event, but maybe it'll be a short-term feud between them two. But I think Jake Hager is a good, solid opponent if he's going to be just kind of a TV feud with Moxley on Dynamite, and then maybe a rematch with Jericho or somebody. I don't really know, which is kind of a good thing, but also kind of a bad thing, because I don't really know if there's a person out there against Moxley that can be a good opponent, but we'll have to wait and see.
That's a possibility. I think the Big Hurt would be a nice TV feud. Was that you? You getting DMs?
Well, finally, after like 20 minutes of trying to upload Skype again, it finally came back to life.
Wow, there you go. All right, the Native Beast Nyla Rose, who's also the AEW Women's Champion, her and B. Priestley going to defeat Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. This was okay. Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for.
You're damn right.
Absolutely. Maxwell Jacob Friedman teams up with the Blade and the Butcher. The Bunny was there as well, along with Wardlow, and they defeat the Jurassic Express.
It was a good, solid 6-man tag. There was a couple contrived spots where they kind of took a little bit too long to get into place and do all the fancy moves that they need to do. MJF got the win over Marco Stunt, which was kind of the obvious pick, which makes sense if they're going to go forward with MJF, whatever they're doing. Maybe it's going to be MJF against Jon Moxley at Double or Nothing, because they have kind of stepped away from him and Cody, since Cody seemingly is going to have a match with Lance Archer. So that's what I'm kind of feeling at the moment. Moxley versus Hager in the short term, and then MJF versus Moxley in the long term.
Wow, that's what's up. All right, Britt Baker's getting heat. She talks about, the people's teeth in whatever city they were in. Talks about dentistry. And then Big Swole comes out there. And, Britt's like, the only person that's over in your house is your boyfriend. And Big Swole's like, I'm married, honey. And Big Swole is married to Cedric Alexander. Actually, she said, I'm married, bae. Haha, get it? And then Britt throws her coffee on Big Swole. Thoughts on the promo segment?
Once again, Britt Baker has a solid heel promo with her and Tony Schiavone. Big Swole comes out. I thought she carried herself quite nicely. Going back to the Undertaker AJ stuff where they were shooting on each other, I think this kind of shoot style works a little bit better, just because it's kind of like, if you know, you're not really burying or kind of, undermining the other women or the other person in the feud too much. So I thought it was good. I still don't know where they're going to be going with their top tier women baby faces. I think Swole is maybe their first choice. It's kind of like a fluid situation because it's like 1 minute they're promoting Riho, then they do Chris Statlander, then they do Big Swole, and it's like who nobody's really stood out at this point in the women's babyface division.
Yeah, their women's division still needs a lot of help. It really, really does. Yeah. All right, moving on from that, we're going to talk about the Death Triangle. I like the Triangle of Death better. Pac, Ray Phoenix, and Pentagon.
It's Triángulo de la Muerte.
Oh, okay. Well, Pac, Ray Phoenix, and Pentagon defeat Private Party. They pop out at your party, and the bad boy Joey Janela.
I thought the match was fine, but I thought that Triángulo de la Muerte should have finished them off in a much shorter fashion. I know you want to protect Private Party. Joey Janela has taken a lot of losses. He hasn't really been doing so much besides what he's been doing with Kip Sabian, but I just felt that if you're going to have these three guys, a freshly formed faction, just put them over strong. You know, they could have a fantastic match with those other three guys, but I just don't think it was the time for that quite yet. And obviously, they're building towards Best Friends and Owens Cassidy at some point down the line. And I think that's when you kind of have them on their heels a little bit more. I think at this point, it should have been a much more about getting them over than having a good match with Private Party and Joey Janela.
Absolutely. All right, the main event was Dustin Rhodes is the mystery partner for one half of the AEW Tag Team Champions, Hangman Adam Page, because Kenny Omega suffered a broken hand. They go on to defeat Les Sex Gods, consisting of Le Champion Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle. Oh, yep, that buckshot lariat, man. That buckshot lariat was fire.
Yeah, with the mystery, the mystery tag partner, people kind of will run rampant and kind of guess and fantasy book. But I think they did a good job at kind of saying that Dustin was going to be it early just to kind of qualm expectations. Maybe it was a little bit of a disappointment. I was kind of throwing out there, maybe it's Marty Scurll because he did the chicken wing at Revolution, so maybe he's going to get his boy Marty back. Obviously, that didn't happen, but a good match. Now with Jericho not having the championship, it kind of opens it up for him to take a little bit more losses and kind of build up some other guys, which is kind of what they did here. And then overall, I thought the match was good, but the ending brawl with Kenny and Cody and Matt coming out, I thought that was fantastic. And I don't think I've ever been this excited about a single Young Buck feud between Matt Jackson and Adam Page.
Yes, I think that's good. They should just have a... You think they can have a singles match at Double or Nothing? Yeah.
I think it could be something that they can pull it off. I don't know if long term they're thinking. I mean, I think it could be like a Dynamite main event. I think that's definitely something you could book towards. And then I don't know what the end, because I think something obviously is going to happen at Blood and Guts. Something's going to happen, a turn, whether it be Young Bucks, Kenny and Hangman, or Hangman himself. Who knows exactly what's going to happen? But there's going to be some sort of big angle which is going to propel them into Double or Nothing, into the month of April. And maybe that's where we get Hangman versus Hangman versus Matt sometime in April. And then that leads to Hangman and Kenny against somebody at Double or Nothing.
It's all looking very, very well for All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Their podcast, the new episode dropped, I think it is today, and Tony Khan, the founder, is on there, so I'm going to give that a listen. I would highly recommend you listen to the AEW podcast. They've had John Moxley on, Cody, Jim Ross. It's really cool, Tony Schiavone and Aubrey Edwards. They're doing a great job with that, so kudos to them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, All Pro Wrestling Blueprints was supposed to happen this Saturday. We had some interviews lined up. It was going to be a really fun show. They were going to crown a new Universal Champion since Jake Atlas relinquished it back in November, and he's off in WWE. But so I'm working on still trying to at least acquire one of those interviews I had scheduled in the next coming weeks. So please look out for that. But APW, they will be running the gymnasium of James Logan High School on April 11th. It's in Union City. It's closer for a lot of us who are over here in the East Bay, so we're on this side of, like Hayward, San Leandro, Fremont, whatever. So please go to that. And they announced in May that Runnin' or whatever it's called, MVP will be at that one. So they're and plus if you bought tickets for Blueprints, that ticket will get you in the door for the MVP show in May. So that's cool.
I was looking forward to this APW show. I was actually going to cover them for my class, kind of a follow up of what I was doing with Starboy Charlie. But obviously, as we have found out, as you know, Philip, when I try to cover APW shows for a newspaper, things don't quite go so well for me.
Yeah, you should cover that promotion in Fremont or Newark, dude. You know that, so things won't go well for them.
Well, the one time I did cover them, it might have been one of the best projects I've ever done.
We'll see. Superstar Spotlight. Who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? I will give it to Hangman Page. His continued evolution, really developing his character, doing cowboy-ish. I love it, and I love it to death.
I will go with Becky Lynch. I thought finally she had a good week after kind of turning on her the last month. I think she finally got herself in the right direction with this promo that she cut on Raw.
Absolutely. All right. Promo pick of the week. Take it away.
On this week's promo pick, we're only going to go back 1 week to last week's episode of NXT while Mauro Ranallo sits down with Johnny Gargano and Mauro asks the question, why, Johnny, why? Johnny obviously doesn't really answer. He snaps at Mauro. I thought Mauro's delivery here was fantastic. And overall, I thought it was a really good promo. Johnny doesn't explain why he turned on Tommaso Ciampa. And if you haven't seen the latest episode of NXT yet, I would highly recommend at least go and check out the final brawl that Johnny Gargano and Ciampa had. They were at the Performance Center. They go all over the place. It's a little, spotty at times in terms of, kind of fake-looking stuff, but well done. And I think they're building this feud quite nicely.
Dude, I really think they are. It's something very, very nice, and I'm looking forward to it. Marl's delivery in the promo with Johnny, I thought that was very cool. You know, Johnny, I didn't realize he had that much of a lisp. Wow. But yeah. Anyway, Johnny's performance was good. You know, it's nice to see him have a little bit of an edge after being Johnny Good Guy, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Takeover.
Still don't know why Johnny did it.
We'll find out why he did it. We'll find out why. All right, the closed match pick of the week: Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio, WrestleMania 27, April 3rd, 2011. What a match! It was Cody's first real chance to show he can be a big single star on a big stage, and he got the win over Rey Mysterio, who was dressed as, I believe, Captain America, because that franchise was booming at the time. Yeah, it was a solid match. You know, Cody was doing the whole undashing masked gimmick at the time. The Crossroads got the win over the legendary Rey Mysterio.
WrestleMania 27 is kind of looked back on as not being a very good WrestleMania, but I think this definitely was one of the highlights of the show, a good, solid undercard match, and hopefully Mysterio can have another one of those with a young talent, maybe Andrade, Garza again, or the four-way Mexican dance, as I've been predicting.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us. We'll be back next week with more coverage of...
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll be back. More coverage of coronavirus and WrestleMania, and stay tuned to our socials. You know, so follow us on Twitter at BulletCast, Instagram, The BulletCast, YouTube channel, The BulletCast, where you can watch Brandon's watch-along of the Royal Rumble 1999. It has over 6,000 views.
And a lot of them are dislikes because people just assume that I pirated the match and put it up on the YouTube.
Absolutely. Please email us, bulletcast2 is in the number 2, sweetswet at gmail.com. Every Friday night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., 99.9 FM, Caleb in Watsonville, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Spotify, Patreon. We're all over the place, as Brendan is just... What are you doing, dude?
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot I wasn't on mute. I gave my phone coronavirus. I was kind of touching it with my mouth.
Oh, geez, you just heard Brandon breathe up in your ears. Oh, stop! That's weird. Don't do that. That's very disgusting. All right, well, that'll do it. Check out the curveball, chair shots, and trapdoor exclusive that you don't want to miss. The first 10 minutes are absolutely mind-boggling. I do another podcast. It's called Complex Conversations, COMPLEXX Conversations. There I talk about whatever I want. I haven't uploaded something since I think like January. Taking a break, kind of get the creative juices flowing. Jesus Christ. Trying to get the creative juices flowing on something else I want to do with that. But yeah, man, we're gonna be doing some bigger and better things here on the BC coming up. We are looking forward to going to Double or Nothing. A lot of great stuff is going to be happening there in Vegas. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for Brandon and myself, we will see you later. Don't get grumpy.
No matter how hard I fall, I'll get back up on my feet. Red alert, this is gonna hurt. When your face is in the dirt, you'll know your death is what I seek.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.